Hello, good evening, and welcome to Inspire and Inform episode, I think 26. My name is Colin Lee, founder and CEO of Inspire Realty. I can't help it, but this week we have two major announcements. Some of you may already know that we have the stamp duty discounts announced in New South Wales. So I did announce that last week, and I think this week we have Victorians trying to follow suit. So for those that missed the breaking news last week, our treasurer, Dominic Perrottet, announced that there would be stamp duty discounts into the new year. So we are waiting to see when that happens, but essentially what they're looking to do is to phase it out and actually include the stamp duty component into land tax. So essentially, it will be spread out. So I did mention that it will be abolished last week, but we're yet to see exactly how it's going to work out. But that's actually very good news for homeowners, investors, and homeowners alike, because that means you don't have to come up with the upfront, a stamp duty, which can really add up quite significantly, anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 on a typical average property. So it is very good news. And this week, a couple of days ago, or yesterday really, Victorians have announced that they would also include stamp duty, not the full amount. Victorians have announced a 50% discount on stamp duty. So I think that's really very good news for our Victorian friends. That is really there to stimulate the economy after a lengthy lockdown. I also heard today that Queensland has opened up its borders to Victoria, and for New South Wales, it's going to be on the 1st of December, which I'm super excited about, because I will be going up to Queensland to visit some family and lots of friends and stay, in Brisbane for a few weeks for my long-awaited holidays now that we can't travel overseas. But it's really good news for Victorians. Just to, I guess, look at the details of it. I'm yet to really dig a little bit, but so far it is effective, and the government essentially waives 50% of the stamp duty for newly built or off-the-plan homes valued up to $1 million until June 30th next year. So that gives us about 6 months to really look at investing in property without having to essentially pay or cough up the massive stamp duty component that's included in. And I've actually got a really real life example. This week alone, I've done about 3 property transactions and a handful of finance clients that I've assisted to get pre-approvals and start the process of refinancing. So if you're keen to have a chat about refinancing, now you can get rates 2% circa. And I think it's a really good time to start to look at refinancing, doing some cash outs if you want, and start to look at some opportunities out there to really save some money for yourself. So the other thing, if you read a little bit at the bottom here as well, you can see that the government hopes that the 50%, so this is not the stamp duty, this is land tax discount, will be introduced in 2022 to attract new investment and boost the housing supply by about 5,000 homes. So even in Victoria, there is a shortage of property that's needed. Also, this week, NAB has said that Melbourne's house prices are projected to grow by 3.6%. They actually recanted some of their predictions, and 3.6% for Melbourne over 2021. So that's really good news for our Melburnian friends. Sydney, it's not a little bit better at 4.4%. And then there'll be further gains in 2022, with Sydney house prices to rise about 6% and Melbourne to rise about 5.4%. So that's really good news. NAB has scrapped that house price call. What I wanted to do is just give you a quick example of how much stamp duty my client saved, because they literally signed the contract today. We had the contract out last week, but we're just so blessed that there was this announcement, which I think is just pure luck. We were not expecting that. I mean, it adds up, and I'll show you exactly how that's calculated. So this particular property is a house and land package. It's a 4-bedroom house on a 336 square meter land and about 155 meter house area. It is titling in February of next year. So the package price is $519,900, which is made up of the land of $285,000 and the house price of $234,000. During this time, I was able to negotiate for my clients to get a further discount on the property because of COVID and because of all that is happening. I know that developers are a little more keen to be more realistic about their expectations, which is really good. So in this particular scenario, I was able to knock off an extra $20,000. As you can see, that's actually the advertised price, $519,900, down to about $499,900. So how does that work? Oh, by the way, I've also been able to not only get the $20,000 discount, but also include as a bit of an upgrade. All these upgrades typically cost money, but I've included the upgrades like bench tops, display quality, landscaping, heating and cooling, a premium dishwasher, quality for cloud coverings, premium appliances, remote control garage doors, LEDs, NBNs, etc., etc. So that's really the value I bring to an investor, is really being able to negotiate on behalf of my investors to get a better deal for their investment property. Now, this one here is a cost breakdown. So I'm a finance broker. I'm able to really help my clients understand how much it actually is required for them to complete the transaction of the property. So the property price is $499,900. Then there's bank and legal fees. They don't pay lender's mortgage insurance because they are only borrowing 80% of the loan. And the stamp duty component is on the land. So the land is $285,000, and therefore stamp duty on the property is $12,170. So what this means with the 50% discount is that my clients will be paying about $6,000 instead of $12,000. That's an extra saving of $6,000 on the stamp duty on this particular property alone. Anyway, government transfer fees, the total deposit required will be $115,000 minus the $6,000. Obviously, I have not accounted for that here. So that kind of gives you a bit of an idea as to how it works in this particular scenario. I just thought I'll finish off as well very quickly by just saying, my goodness, the amount of activity that's happening in the mortgage world. I feel like I'm a full-time finance and mortgage broker and a full-time property strategist at the same time. It's just been hectic for me. I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful. I've been getting a lot of referral clients. I've got now over 150 Google reviews on my services, so I'm really grateful for that. And it's just so. I'm just so pleased to be able to serve my clients and really help them through the property and the finance side of things. Just having a look at the refinancing, looking at investor, and in the total, if you look at what's happening here in September 20, you can see there is now a big rise of mortgage activity compared to the last few years. So it is picking up, which means people are looking to refinance and buy properties and get investment properties. If this is a good time for you, and if you want to have a quick discussion with me, feel free to call me on 1-800-888-4663 or visit our website, www.inspirerealty.com. Thank you so much for your time, and wish you all the best. Have a good night. Bye-bye for now.